Arsenal fans, listen up. Your club is on the move. Right. We've had Sammy Mockbell of the Mail say that Aston Villa have rejected an official bid from Arsenal for Ollie Watkins. We've got more. Fabrizio Romano has said that official bid was £60 million. Dharmesh Sheth, your reaction?
Well, I was talking about, whether Arsenal could get a forward deal done in this transfer window, and they're looking at long-term options and short-term options as well. Watkins wouldn't be a short-term option. Is a player that they have admired for a while, and if they could get a deal like that done, they would obviously look at it in the summer, because that's when they want to do their big business. But as I mentioned before, during this window, if they can get something done in a January transfer window, they would go for it.
Would Villa let him go this late in the window?
I think, look, I can understand why Arsenal supporters are very excited at the moment, because Ollie Watkins is an out-and-out striker, number 9. A lot of Arsenal fans would say he's the kind of player we've been crying out for. But I think we should show Aston Villa some respect, because they've got Arsenal have made this bid. It's been rejected, but he expects Arsenal to go back in with an improved offer. And something else that Sammy has dug up is the fact that Ollie Watkins is an Arsenal fan. And in 2020, when he was at Brentford, he admitted that it would be his dream one day to play for Arsenal.
Wow. All right. Apparently I'm hearing that Henry was his idol, but that doesn't make him special because he's lost.
Have made a bid for the Aston Villa striker, Ollie Watkins. That bid has been rejected. It's expected that Arsenal are going to go in with an improved offer. Now, this story was first reported by Sammy Mockbell in the Daily Mail, and he has dug up some interesting information, because he says that back in 2020, when Ollie Watkins was at Brentford, he gave an interview in which he said that it was always his dream to play for Arsenal, and apparently Thierry Henry was his hero when he was growing up. Now, that may well be the case, but that doesn't mean that Aston Villa are going to be selling him to Arsenal. But it is big news, especially for Arsenal fans who've been crying out for their club to sign a new striker because they believe they need a striker to win the title. The story is a little bit complicated, though, because Aston Villa have got 2 number 9s, effectively, who are in demand. There's Ollie.
Do you know what? The actual the bid makes sense. I understand why Arsenal would want a player like Ollie Watkins. I think he fits the system. It is exactly what they need. But the timing of it is bizarre. I think it's going to get Aston Villa's backs up a little bit. And if you say Arsenal are coming back in, then we'll see what happens. But from Aston Villa's point of view, they won't want to lose, in my opinion, either of those 2 strikers. I think we've seen so many games this season where Watkins has started and John Duran's come off the bench and scored important goals. To compete on a couple of fronts like they are, they need 2 really top-class strikers, which they've got at the minute.
What is he, 29, Ollie Watkins? Does it seem a lot of money for a 29-year-old, which has already been rejected?
I mean, Arsenal have got a long-term interest in Ollie Watkins. They're long-term admirers of the player. And we've always been saying that short-term and long-term targets will be considered in this transfer window. They cannot get a domestic player on loan in this transfer window because they've already used up their 2 loans in Neto from Bournemouth and Raheem Sterling from Chelsea. So it was going to have to be a permanent deal that they'd have to go for. Ollie Watkins clearly is someone that they like, and they've gone big with this bid. But the cynic in me is kind of wondering, look, for them to do it with 5 days to go on the eve of a huge game for Aston Villa, surely they would know that Aston Villa are going to say no. I just wonder, is there another target that Arsenal have got, and maybe they're trying to push that other target by making it public? Here we go, look, we're going for Ollie Watkins here. Because that kind of thing can happen, can't it?
Does that happen, Ash?
Yeah, 100%. Those kind of moves definitely happen that don't come out and we're not talking about, because phone calls go on, conversations happening behind closed doors, and you never find out about it. So that would make sense, where they want some maybe they're down the line with someone a little bit and it's sticky, and so they've gone, OK, we're going to do a big public bid over here to push this guy. And if I was that player that's doing the quiet conversation, I might now be saying to my agent, look, they're moving on someone else, we need to get going.
One thing I will say as well, just very quickly, Carve, sorry, one thing I would say as well, we know how it works in transfers. When clubs make bids, they must be getting encouragement from somewhere that it potentially could be successful. They want to bring in a striker. Mikel Arteta says they're working hard. They really want to do it, given their injury problems. So I'm just talking more generally, just in transfer terms, these kind of things might happen in a transfer window, because when you have a bid as big as that, surely somewhere Arsenal are getting an encouragement that Ollie Watkins might think, actually, yeah, I do want to make that move.
Can I just float an alternative theory?